Alright, today we're going to carve a nose. Very simple step-by-step process for carving a realistic nose. This is a beginner's guide. This is a super simple version. If you want a more advanced version of this, I have an online school. There are some great videos on YouTube as well. But I have an online school that goes into depth about the realistic features of the face: eyes, nose, mouth, female, male, young and old. And there's 3 new projects added every month to that 80+ video bank. So check that out in the link below. It's a really great resource for those of you learning to carve, one of the biggest online. So that said, I'm using an 1.5 by 1.5 by, I think it's a 4-inch, well, about 3.5, 3 3/4 inch piece of basswood for this. And it's cut diagonally just to make it a little bit lighter and easier to handle. And I've got an 1.5 inch blade, and that's it, a pencil, a ruler. So let's get into it, guys. Okay, I've drawn a line 1.5 inches from the brow ridge here, just like so, and halfway between the brow ridge and the chin is the nose, right? So there's our proportional theory. Okay, so to start, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to make a stop cut right at this line, right below this line. And I'll make a stop cut going straight in, like so, and then angling up to that cut, just taking a little bit at a time, not a ton. And just back and forth. The nice thing about carving in the corner is that you'll get all that projection right away. You don't have to worry so much about digging all this material around it. Oh man, hear that airplane? Airplane. Of course you do. Okay, so now it's at this point I want to create a V pattern, a V structure to the nose, because the nostril flares kind of sit above the nose, the nostrils, the ball rather, or the nose, excuse me. It's early, huh? Alright, so the ball is going to be right in the middle here. So we'll take the sharp point off of that nose, and we'll angle the edges slightly upward. Not a ton, but slightly upward. Taking that knife, turning it on its side, making a straight cut in. Use a little sliding motion, make it easier for it to glide through the wood. Just like that. Alright? Go back over that once. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, what a beautiful day out. Okay, so we've got that. Now, one thing that's really instrumental, important in setting up the nose is the frown line. That frown line, or smile line, defines the nostril flare. It actually feeds into the nostril flare and helps me, in my mind, when I'm carving, kind of define the shape of the nostrils. So the rule goes that the outside of the nostril, or the width of the nostril, is determined by the inside corner of the eye. Now that's definitely not always true. I mean, you can definitely see people with much wider nose profiles. Just kind of depends, again, kind of like we talked about with eyes, how the specific person is. But just to kind of stick with the rule, I'm going to come down about the outside corner of the eye and make a stop cut. Now I'm not going very high up. I'm less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, a couple millimeters here. Just a little tip of the nose, a tip of the knife going straight in there, just like that. Okay, so the mistake you could make is climb up high. Don't do that. Stay down low. So I'm going to do another cut on this side. Again, lining up with the inside corner, just about there of the inside corner of the eye. And we're going to do a triangle cut. Remember that? If you've watched the eye video, you remember that we did something like this in the inside corner of the eye. Boop, boop, boop. It's called a triangle cut because it's in the shape of a triangle. I know, big surprise. So I'm going straight in with the tip of the blade and then relieving in the form of a triangle. And these all should angle towards one another so that when we've done so cleanly, go back over it because it didn't come out, we get a little chip to fly out. Alright, and the same thing on this side. And believe it or not, we're doing a lot of work with just a few cuts here. We're establishing the nostril flare. We're establishing the beginning of the what's called the nasolabial fold, or the smile line. And what we can do from this triangle is we can extend one of the lines of the triangle down. And that's going to create the frown line, or the smile line. I keep calling it the smile line. Just kind of digging into my fingers. Take the corners off of this. Okay, see where we're headed there? Clean up that bottom, stop cut and relief cut. Alright, now we're getting really close already. I mean, it's a very simple process when you're carving into a corner with a knife to get the gist of it. But what we can do now is we can extend this line. Now, we're not going to get too carried away with this because this is another step for another day. We're going to talk about the mouth later, but in another video. But what I'm doing, I'm extending the one side, this outside edge of the triangle, outward. Right? So at this angle, kind of dividing this whole bit. And then I'll make a relief cut. Angling towards that stop cut, which was more kind of up and down, perpendicular. This one's kind of turned flat, and cutting up to that. And look at that. It's already giving us the shape of the dental arch. Okay, so same thing over here. Let's extend that down. Oh, I don't know, maybe half an inch or so. And then that stop cut again. Back over it. Like that. How cool is that? Alright. And again. Okay. Very, very cool. Alright, now, almost done. The next thing I want to do, this is probably the most challenging cut of the entire project, is we're going to define the nostril flares. Now, if you had a V-tool handy with you, oh, it's just so easy. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. All you're going to have to do is take that V-tool, pretend this is a V-tool, and carve over that line. But because we have a knife, we've got a little bit of a tricky cut where we're going to have to drag the tool almost like a pencil over that line. So let's do that first. Let's do that. So pretend we're drawing with a pencil. That kind of makes it a little bit easier in my mind. And do your best to not do that, right? Because looks like we got a little carried away with our stop cut. And we can fix that because we didn't get too deeply in there. But anyway, use it almost like a pencil. Holding tension between the left and right hand, guys. It's very, very important when you're carving to hold tension between the left and right hand. That's what I wasn't doing just then. I got a little ahead of myself. And a relief cut. Now, this was the straight cut in, right? And this is the cut towards that line that we just made. Okay, and look what that's doing. That's creating a nostril flare, right? Isn't that fun? So the same thing over here, right? In this case, I'm going to go straight in. It's actually really nice if you can use your thumb as a guide, the opposite holding hand, to control it. Otherwise, you're going to slip off and you could cut yourself, you know. I'm lucky I didn't get myself too good there. I think I just barely nicked my hand, touched it. Got some thick skin. Okay, so this is what we're after here. That nostril, how about that? The tip of my blades could be a little bit sharper, and that's why we have our strop with us. I like to bring the strop on camera so that folks can see that it's normal for the tool to dull, and it's also normal to have to take a break, grab that strop with some compound on it. This is Zam honing compound. It's like a crayon. You rub it on and it has a abrasive that removes metal. That's what this black stuff is coming off of the blade. And yeah, again, it's important to take a break if you feel like your tool isn't sharp and just touch it up a little bit. All right, now we could totally just get carried away in the shapes of the nose. You'll hear people talk about the ball and how there's kind of a double diamond shape, the diamond here, a diamond here. I like that idea. What they're basically saying is that there's a bit of a widening point typically, right after the bridge meeting the forehead, right here, kind of widens, and then often it kind of narrows right before the ball. But then again, every nose is different, right? Every nose is different. So if we want to use our knife to kind of narrow a little bit, take a little scoop out. Well, luckily for us, we already had to because I made a boo-boo there, but you can come in with the scoop cut. When I'm coming through, I'm just turning the knife, just like with a little bit of a turn outward. All right. And we can also kind of take a little bit out of the transition between this widening area and the cheek by taking a bit of a scoop here, just like that. Notice that. Kind of narrowing the bridge of the nose, because it's a little wide right now. Just like that, okay? Beautiful. All right. You can smooth the bridge over. Get rid of those pencil lines. Not going to worry too much about the more finer details of the nose. If you want to learn how to carve different types of noses and really get into the structure of it all, I've got an online school that I'll link below that is really the main way that I teach carving outside of YouTube, and that's a good resource for those of you trying to learn how to carve more realistic faces and more advanced whittle carvings, and but really focusing on realistic faces there and other projects as well. So, and you know, a growing base of other contributors is just starting that process now. So you'll be seeing a whole bunch of folks eventually on there teaching now. I've already got 3 folks lined up, really incredible world-class carvers. So, okay, so that's that, guys. I don't want to take too much more time for this because I think we're at a really good point. You know, one other really minor thing that you do want to, I guess I say minor, but it's a big deal, is the nostril hole itself that makes up the nares, or the profile of the hole of the nose. So what I'll do for this, and this is a little tricky, you want to protect your hands, wear a glove for this. I'm going to take the tip of the knife and I'm going to make a little bit, think about a half circle, okay, just like so. All right, so I'm turning the tool as I'm moving it through the wood. And then I'll make a stop cut, laying the blade flat against the wood, the mouth mount. Letting that come off. If it doesn't come out, just go back over it. Yeah, until it does. All right. And you can see here, that gives us a shadow for the nostril. Look at that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I like to turn it upside down like this and look from underneath to see if I'm symmetrical one side to the other. Okay, so using that tip and laying the tool flat, that chunk should come right out. And then from the side, you should be able to see some representation of that. Okay. Okay, guys. That's that. Thanks for watching. Per usual, have a great day and take your vitamins. See you in the next one, guys.